action.
I'm Peter McCrowan, and I grow these giant white squill here in Southern California. I have about 8 acres of them, and I'd like to introduce you to the beauty of these flowers so you can have them in your own backyard. I have about 8 acres of these. You grow about 12 to 15,000 bulbs to the acre, so as you might imagine, I've got a lot of bulbs. Originally I grew it as a cut flower, but I'm starting to notice it's very desirable for gardeners because it's something you can grow without any irrigation. Irrigation helps, but you can still grow them without. I'm going to show you an example of the giant squill bulb. These have been in the ground for about 10 or 12 years. The first 5 years it took just to mature big enough to get a cut flower. For you, the gardener, you would get a cut flower probably in about a year, maybe 2. I'm going to dig one up right now and see how it does. Here it is. You have to cut the roots so you don't break a root pad. A root pad will separate. Usually takes about 3 digs. Now we had a dry year this year, so there may be some desiccation on the outside. That's about an 8-pound bulb, and if you happen to be a squill farmer like I am, you would notice that there's 2 points of growth here. This is where they split. In your garden, after this has been in the ground for a few years, you'd get 2 flowers instead of 1. I'm going to show you a little bit about the bulb right now. This is a fairly typical bulb of what you would receive on this website. These are all large, 8 to 10 pounds. Let me show you what's normal so people don't get upset. This amount of exfoliation is normal. That just helps protect the bulb from the heat. Also normal, I'll show you, is how they split. After you purchase a bulb, some of them come this way, some of them come as singles. They're all about the same circumference. That doesn't really matter. This one is about 10 years old. It should flower within about a year from the time you purchase it. I'm sometimes asked, what's the best place to plant the squill in the garden? Usually I recommend that you plant it in the part of the garden that doesn't get irrigated, or it just gets modestly irrigated, or maybe where the sprinkler doesn't quite get out there, or you can even do it in a xeriscape. Squill requires very little water. If anything you have to worry about, you don't want to plant it in the part of the garden where you have water that settles. It can actually get too much water. They have a very fibrous root system that can go out 4 or 5 feet, and they will find the water if it's there in your garden. The soil conditions, just don't be too heavy clay. Sand is fine, sandy loam, sandy sand loam, there is such a thing, but no clay. Clay would be something that would hold water, and that wouldn't be good for them. As big as a squill bulb is, it's very easy to plant. You want to plant it about level with the top of the earth, right side up, of course, and don't worry about any type of rodents or deers or coyotes. The squill is resistant to all those things. So what we'll do is just dig a hole about the height of the bulb. In this case, it's about 8 inches. I usually plant them about 18 to 24 inches apart so that as they do expand and multiply, they have plenty of room. It's nice to plant in a group of 3 to 5. You do it simply that way. You make a slight basin around it, and when you're all done, you might water it in and come back a week later and water it in again. And as you can see, level with the top of the ground, in there, couldn't be simpler.